Home prices are at a 20-year high, and the media would have us believe that it is a terrible time for anybody to buy a house. Is that true? It depends. I know that's not an answer that is fun to hear, but it is going to be different for everybody, whether or not now is a good time to buy a house. But what is true is that it is not a bad time for everybody to buy, and we'll talk about why that is in this video. The reason why I'm making this is because I saw a post recently where somebody had shared that they got approved for a mortgage at an 8% interest rate. And so they were asking, is that interest rate too high? Most people responding to that post were saying that yes, 8% is too high. My response was a question, which is too high compared to what? If we're simply comparing to what the interest rates were a couple of years ago at under 3%, then yes, 8% is absolutely way too high. But is the interest rate the only thing that you should be looking at when you're deciding on whether or not to get a mortgage for a house? Absolutely not. You might be missing out on buying your first house because you have blinders on. If you are not taking the time to fully understand what's happening in the market for yourself, then you have major blinders on. And if you're only paying attention to clickbait headlines that are designed to hijack and distract you by giving you cheap dopamine hits, that is even further darkening your blinders. You have a better chance of deciding whether or not a mortgage makes sense for you by asking yourself two questions. First, what outcome do I want from buying this house? And second, what is a realistic mortgage payment that works for me? Filter all the advice that you're hearing from socials, from the media, from your mom's friend who's been a renter for the last 40 years through those two questions. If you were clear on why you are buying this house and how it fits into your financial plan as an asset and not a bill, then you can make a logic-based decision on whether or not interest rates and prices are too high for you right now. Let's face it, absolutely nobody can make a decision for you and tell you whether or not it's a good time to buy or even where you should be buying. Nobody has the ability to go into the depths of your mind and really understand what you're doing, how your past impacts it, and how it impacts your future. You are the only person that can make a decision for yourself that makes sense based on all those different intricacies that we on the outside cannot see and can never understand. And arming yourself with real facts, arming yourself with knowledge is going to help you to make the best decision for yourself. How do you figure out what a realistic mortgage payment is for you? You do that by understanding what your current living expenses are, what your expenses will be if you get this mortgage, and then determining the exact number that you're willing to spend on the mortgage, keeping in mind all the different expenses that you have right now and that you will have in the future, and also just the fun stuff that you want to do as well. Whether you're buying a single family, a duplex, a condo, a four-family house, these two questions remain the same. Why am I buying this house, and is the math mathing? Notice I did not mention how much the house costs. I did not mention what the interest rate is, because in reality, that doesn't actually matter. What actually matters is how this payment, the mortgage payment, fits into your budget, but also how this house meets your goals that you want to achieve when it comes to cash flow, when it comes to equity. If we're thinking about an asset, there has to be some kind of cash flow equity advantage, but then it also has to be affordable for you. And if those things are not in line, then it is not a good time to buy. But if you do your math and everything lines up, here are some benefits of buying right now when everybody is scared. There are fewer people looking for houses right now because most people are not going to take the time to do the math and actually make a logical decision on whether or not buying a house makes sense. And because most people just listen to the news and just say, okay, it's not a good time to buy, there are fewer people putting offers on houses, which means that you have a better shot of buying a house and getting a deal right now compared to the mad rush of, when interest rates were super low. As the average home buyer continues to not do the math and continues to just listen to what the media is saying as opposed to deciding for themselves with data, they're going to continue to pay rent and continue to build equity for their landlords as opposed to for themselves. If that's you and you have not done some math, I urge you to take a pen and paper right now and get ready to do some math. You don't need a random person on the internet to tell you whether or not now is a good time for you to buy. You just need some clarity and you need some confidence. And that comes from knowing what you want, knowing why you want it, and being clear on how this decision that you're thinking about is going to impact your finances. You can always refinance a mortgage to get a lower interest rate, but what you cannot do is you cannot get your money back that you are paying your landlord right now. That is going to be gone forever, child. Let me know in the comments, are you waiting to buy your first house because you have done the math, or are you waiting with the masses? There are a few key costs that I missed out when I was trying to figure out whether or not I could afford a mortgage. I don't want that to be you, so make sure you check out this video so you can do your math and make sure your math is accurate. I'll see you there.